Everybody, Mega Ruler 31 back here for FSI DFS. I'm going to be breaking down the 9-game slate for Wednesday. If you're looking for the early slate, just pause the video, go to our channel. McKinley broke down that one. I feel bad for him because it is a rough slate. You've got all the good pitchers going against all the good offenses, all the bad pitchers going against all the bad offenses, and splitting hairs figuring out who to play, but he did a great job breaking it down. So if you're interested in playing that slate, watch that video and he will help you out there. So the slate looks nice. Not only one like mild weather concerned. Got some pitchers, got some hitters. So let's get into it. Just kind of an update. You know, I've still been crown chasing on DK. I've been playing in the 10-cent contest. So I'll play 150 lineups there. And then I'll pay like $1. Put it in the GPP after I almost took down like the penny one. I learned my lesson on that one. And last night I actually smashed really like crowns. Had Cole and Strider. They got me a ton of strikeouts. I think they make 19 total. So, you know, 19 times 151 lineups I had it in is decent amount there. Yeah, so it's like calculator's not working. So it's like 2,869 strikeouts. And it's funny because I stacked the Padres, but then I took Seager and the Texas second baseman there, and then I filled in with like San Francisco guys, and the San Francisco guys and Texas guys are the ones that hit the home runs for me, and none of the Padres did, but still it was a decent night. So I do encourage you, if you are trying to, you know, get your achievements, that's an easy way to do it. Just take the top 2 pitchers that you think for like strikeouts, put them in there, put some stud bats in that you think are great situations for home runs, and then just fill in with values. My value play last night was Mercedes for San Francisco. He was a catcher, now he's playing, I think he's outfield eligible, and he just absolutely crushed it last night. He had a home run and he scored like maybe like 30 DK points or something like that. It was just a crazy amount for like almost minimum price guy, and that's, you know, that's always a good night when the really cheap guy that you just threw into your lineup to just round things out like goes off. So yeah, Mercedes had 34 points last night and he was $2,200. So that's awesome. Love that. Yeah. So getting to tonight's slate. So first game up, we have Cincinnati and New York. We have Mike Minor and Severino. Minor is definitely fade, probably the biggest fade on the slate here. Lefty who struggles with giving up power in Yankee Stadium. 86-degree day against a right-handed lineup. Judge should be back. It's just a day of rest. No big deal there. So love the Yankees. Think they're the top stack on the slate. I even like them over San Diego. I think, you know, maybe they're 1 and 1A, but I'm going to lean the Yankees. I'll probably go San Diego still in cash just because they're free again on DK. But Yankees, I'll definitely, you know, are in consideration there. And you can mix and match some of them too, but we'll get to that when we get to the breakdown section. Cincinnati on the other side. While Severino is a pitcher, I think he's in consideration here. I think he'd make maybe 4th on the list, but he's definitely in play here against this Cincinnati team. And then Cincinnati bats not interested, only a leverage stack if you want him, and Yankees, like I said, really like him there. Philadelphia Phillies and the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't know if I have a lot of interest in this game. Zach Wheeler's a good pitcher. He's pretty good against righties, and that's what Toronto's thrown out here. Now they finally put up 4 runs. They finally got a win. They had an abysmal West Coast trip. They could not put up any runs there. So the only thing that concerns me about Wheeler, and it's the big story at Philadelphia, is they're in Toronto, and not a lot of team, but I think there's like 4 or 5 guys that leave behind because they're not vaccinated. So that's Bomb. It's their catcher Deichi Realmuto. So if he's Wheeler's primary catcher and those guys work together calling the game, then, you know, there's with the backup now might not be as sufficient. Plus it really waters down the Philadelphia lineup too, because, but like I said, Bomb's not there, Realmuto's not there. I think the Nola's not going to be pitching. It's only a 2-game series, I believe, so it doesn't really matter. They should be back to normal tomorrow wherever they go. And I think they're like down a relief pitcher or 2 or so. So Wheeler, I think, is okay, but again, I prefer McClanahan's definitely going to be the top pitcher, probably on DK and Severino above him in that price range. Stripling on the other side, he's a reverse split pitcher, so keep that in mind. So against this Philly team, it's a little bit watered down. I think maybe if you're looking for a cheap one, if you're playing like a lot of lineups, like maybe he get into 20 max, 150 max, to definitely consider him as a cheap guy. But there's still some pop in this lineup here. So for the Philly bats, like Schwarber, I think he's still good on either side, but I think that really helps like Hoskins and Castellanos. And then the rest of the bottom of this lineup is there's like really nobody I'm super interested in. Maybe take a Veerling, or he did some decent things in spring training. I know he has some power there. He's only like 2.4, so he's cheap if you need like a fill-in or something like that. Toronto on the other side against Wheeler, I'm not super interested in here. So I think both of them can be considered for GPP, but overall, I think I'm just kind of going to cross this game out. Red Sox in Tampa Bay. In Tampa Bay, you have Josh Winskowski and Shane McClanahan. McClanahan on DK at least is going to be the top pitcher. He's so expensive on FanDuel that there's some other guys that you can definitely pay down for and probably do just as well as point per dollar there. Might not have the raw points McClanahan has, but I think if you look at how much money you're spending on him versus how many points you get, I think there's probably about 3 or 4 guys that are a better value than that. So Wisconsin on the other side, I think is my second favorite, like cheaper pitcher on the slate. Tampa Bay is just completely, I mean, they're hurt by injuries here. They're still missing Lau. Shortstop Franco is out. It's like, it's just such a talented young guy with so many injuries so early. It's just sad. I guess is the word I'm looking for that. So bat wise, like I really don't Boston unless you really want to take like it's not even a hitter's park here. So if you and McClanahan has really good against righties and lefties. So I don't know. I wouldn't play Boston. I think it's the top leverage stack. If you're playing 150 max, I'm fine with that. Tampa Bay on the other side just makes cheap bats if you really want to mix them in or play a stack against this younger Boston pitcher if you think you could take advantage of that. But that again, besides McClanahan as pitcher on DK, I'm really not interested in this game either. Might be a little weather for the next game, Cleveland Guardians and Chicago White Sox. Looks like about 50% chance of rain, but it tapers off really quickly. So they probably will get this game in. Might be just be a delay. Giolito and Savale. Giolito, I think, is okay, but I really don't like the matchup. So at 79, it's kind of priced in no man's land today. Cleveland doesn't really strike out much, so the K upside is really not there. Savale on the other side, not really interested in. I think Chicago White Sox make one of my favorite GPP plays. The pricing is just high on it, and just keep in mind also Savale is a reverse splits pitcher also. So you're really looking at the righties here, and probably going to like just load up on him here, like especially top of lineup with Anderson, Mercado is a switch hitter, Roberts, Abreu, Jimenez. Sheets is really probably the only lefty that you're going to see in there. The Guardians, if you want to take some one-offs here, playing 150 max against Giolito, I'm fine with that, but I'm not super interested other than that. Dodgers and Cardinals, kind of another cross-off game here. It's going to be hot in St. Louis, but it looks like the wind's going to be blowing in. So you have Goslin and Wainwright. You have 2 decent pitchers. And 2 decent offenses. So I don't really know in this slate when you have so many other really good options. When you look at like McClanahan, Severino, Ohtani, Javier, Gray, Wheeler, even I really can't see a case for playing these guys. So if you're playing large field tournaments, maybe even the Dodgers I have in my 3rd favorite stack, but Wainwright's decent. So maybe chase some of the lefties here like Muncy or Freeman. Lamb's always cheap. Bellinger, Lux. Betts and Turner are professional baseball players. So like once you get to the bullpen past him, they might see some lefties. So I'm okay with that, but really not super excited for Dodger stack. 4.1 total. It's the lowest I've seen them in a really long time. St. Louis on the other side, same thing. If you're playing 150 max, we're not really interested. Next up, we have the Baltimore Orioles and Chicago Cubs. Looks like the wind's blowing in here in Wrigley. It's only 68 degrees, which is pretty cool. So both these pitchers, I think you definitely can make a case for. Watkins as a cheap one, and then Steele on the other side. I would not play him on DK. He's a fade there, and that's why he's listed twice on the sheet. He's just way too expensive at 9.2. That's just an egregious price. Like he should be maybe 8.2 there, but on FanDuel, he's very reasonably priced, and I really, really like him there in this matchup against the Orioles. With the wind blowing in, it's going to suppress hitting, and I think so. Both the teams would be cheap if something changes and the wind starts blowing out there, but I don't think it is, and it's going to be cool temperature. So I'm pretty much off of most of those. And the ironic thing here is if you want to look for cheap bats, like the San Diego Padres, who are one of the top stacks, have some 2K players like in multiple positions. So you can play the top stack and play cheap guys and just go there instead of trying to pick off of like Tampa Bay, Chicago, or Baltimore today, or even the A's, who we're going to talk about next year. Against Texas, Paul Blackburn and John Gray. Blackburn is okay here, but Texas has been very, very hot, especially Corey Seager. He's hit a home run in like 5 or 6 games, man. The dude's just on fire. So, but I really like John Gray on the other side here. I think he's really chalky SP2 if people don't pay up for like Ohtani or Javier on the other in like the 9K range. So Blackburn might show some ownership, but again, not super interested here. A's would only be like a leverage stack. I think Gray goes out there and has a really good game against them. And Texas, between them and the Dodgers, I think there's more Dodgers that are in play. That's why they have them ranked 3rd. But Texas, definitely Smith, Seager, Lau. I'd pick off some of these lefties. If you can get Simeon and Garcia in there, that's fine, but they're just super pricey. I'd rather just make Seager the priority and then take the 2-9 Smith and the 3-4 Low, or maybe even Calhoun if he hits up in the lineup for Brad Miller at 3-3 at 2-8, like lefty matchup against Blackburn. Okay, now of course San Diego Padres, Colorado Rockies, Musgrove and Cool. Normally you'd like a right-hander against him, especially with Musgrove, but I think he's just on my no interest list. I'm not going to put him as a fade. I think in large field tournaments, if you want to take a shot here, because Colorado has struggled even at home against right-handed hitting. Cool on the other side is one of the worst pitchers on the slate, so he and mine are the 2 top fades next to Steele, who's too expensive. So San Diego, love them. Still way too cheap. Cronenworth probably lead off at 4.4. Then you have Mazzara probably hitting 3rd at 2.1. Hosmer with the splits advantage at 2K. I don't know what's going on with this pricing. Abrams, the shortstop, at 2K. Azelar, I mean, he doesn't have the split, but he's at 2.3. They're also in the outfield. It's just the pricing is just so. Even Manny Machado, he's up to like 5.5 here, which I'm fine playing on righty. Crewell's just a bad pitcher. But still, like usually see him at like 6.5 or something here in Coors Field. Just the pricing just crazy low. Colorado on the other side, don't really like him against Blackburn. I guess there would be the top GBP. I think maybe I like the White Sox a little bit better. But just pricing wise, I think Colorado works out well. So I don't love Blackman, but he at least has the splits advantage from Mayan. Hilliard's like a 2K guy if you need to fill in an outfield. That's really cheap there. Final game is Houston, and the Angels love both pitchers here, Javier and Ohtani on the other side. Javier has been solid recently. Trout left the game with like back spasms, so he meant that you'd be in there. And just this Angels lineup, they're leading off like Stefanski here. Ward's not hitting like it was earlier in the season. Walsh is probably the only lefty really that might really be concerned with here. Like it's just the rest of this team is just striking out and not really that good. And then Houston on the other side too, there Brantley's out of the lineup. Alvarez, who just really solidified the middle of that lineup, is on the IL. So like, I mean, you still have like Altuve and Diaz and Tucker and Bregman's been hot and cold this season, but the bottom of this lineup, there's just is not the same Houston team that we like really fear. They only have a 3.37 total. Houston with 3.37 total. They're usually like 4 weeks ago, they were like a matchup proof team against Ohtani. Like you would have said, oh, hey, you know, a great leverage stack, which you can still play him as a leverage stack here. But like I really like Ohtani on the side of it, and then on the other side too, the Angels. Like you really can't play Ohtani here, and Trout might not be in the lineup. So this is like a garbage stack here. I have them at 150 max, but they might be like fall under the cheap one because you're looking at like 2-2, like 3-6, 3-4, 3-8. Like Ward at 4-5 is probably the highest price guy in the lineup here, but it's really no interest unless you're playing like large field tournaments. So let's look at some lineup builds and get you on your way for your day. So like I said, I'm taking McClanahan. Then you have your choice here, what you're going to do, but you're going to have plenty of salary here. If you take Hosmer, Cronenworth, Machado, Grissom, Massara, you can throw Seager in there. And then decide like what you want to do. If you pay up for pitcher, if you like take like a mid-range like catcher somewhere around the 2.5 range, and you can get Judge or whoever you want in the outfield spot here. I mean, you can finish it off and take Texas in your stack. You're probably going to leave money on the table, even if you pay up for a 9K pitcher, because like you just have so much left over here. I'm okay if like you drop one of these guys and want to, you know, do something else, or like Hosmer at, if you, even though he's 2K, if you don't need the salary there and you want to play Voit to be different and think, you know, once he gets to the bullpen or Krul's just bad against both and Voigt's got some power, and switch it up a little bit, make your lineup a little bit different, then I'm okay with that. On FanDuel, I think Javier or Ohtani is the answer in cash. However, I can make a very strong case for Steele, because if you take Hosmer and Cronenworth, then you have to choose. Are you going to pay up for Manny or take Mazzara and Grisham, who are about the same? I think one's 3K and one's 2.9, so they're very cheap there. So if you don't play Machado, that gives you some more salary, and you can easily pretty much get Texas, whoever you want in here. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take Steele and Hosmer, Cronenworth, Machado. I can then get a full White Sox stack in here. I'll take Anderson over Seager at shortstop, and then I'll just take two outfielders there and a utility guy, and it works out perfectly. I get all right-handed bats. I love how that lineup works out. So I think in cash, I might take the risk and play Steele as my pitcher. And then that gives me a full San Diego stack and a full stack of the White Sox. And I really like that. So for GPP, and I said you can play the Yankees in cash too. I'm going to take Higgy at catcher. I really love the matchup here. He does really well hitting left-handed pitching, especially a bad left-handed pitcher. Torres, Donaldson, Judge, Sten. If you want to take DeLemejo over Torres, that's fine. So then again here, I try to maybe fill in a Texas stack, or I might just go one-offs because there's, and for SP2 again, it's going to I'm probably going to lead Javier. Ohtani also is a good choice there. And again, like I might try to see if I can get White Sox in here. Maybe just take one-offs. There's a lot of good options there. I can take, you know, San Diego again. There's a lot of ways to go. FanDuel, Gray's going to be my pitcher. Going to take Higgy or Low from Texas. Definitely play Seager there. And then, you know, I might need to take some of the San Diego guys. Well, actually, they're more expensive, but I think I can get a full Texas stack in here for FanDuel. For DK, again, I was looking, I think each one of these positions that open, I think San Diego works really well because, like I said, Hosmer's cheap, Abrams, the shortstop, is cheap, or Mazzara. If you play one of those guys in, or two of those guys in there, then I think if you can get one of the 9K pitchers, play this Yankee stack, and then you can take like whoever you want to for like the White Sox or like a higher price team. So if you want like Freeman for the Dodgers, or if you want Abreu up there, or if you want to take Seager there, or you want to take Anderson, or you want to take like Roberts or like Mookie Betts or like a decent outfielder there, it all works out. So lots of ways to play with that lineup. If you just use that skeleton build there, play Javier or Ohtani, and then play two of the 2K guys from San Diego, then you can pick whatever stud you want for the third position that's left open in the infield or batting wise. So, well, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you have any comments, leave them in the chat below and we'll get back to you and try to help you out with that. You can hit me up at Twitter at MegRuler31. If you want more information on FSI DFS, it'd be cool to see all the people who have signed up recently. You know, come on in. The information is in the Discord. You can see what all our pricing is, or not in Discord, in the description of the video. It gets you into our Discord, which is the main like landing place for us for all our rooms for all the things we offer. Or check out our website, FSIDFS.com. You can go there and see all that we offer too. Got a couple more days before the All-Star break here, so look to finish strong here, and then probably do some special videos during the All-Star break on some different things for how the season's going, maybe some lineup builds, things like that. Try to get some interesting things in there while there's no baseball games to try to help you out even more with them. So if you have any suggestions for videos that you'd like, leave those in the comments. Also hit me up at Twitter, MegaRoad31. Like, so, you know, like, hey, I'd like to see like how you build your lineups, or like, you know, different strategy, different contest selection, anything like that. I think we might like break down like bullpens, different things like that. So floating around a lot of ideas in my head. So you'll see some like unique things that aren't going to be like lineup construction and slate breakdowns, but it should help you overall for the rest of the season. So appreciate you watching as always. Please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, share with your friends, and good luck in all your contests tonight, and we'll see you next time.